On today's show, Cooper Flagg, 2 concerning things from the game against the Spurs, and Marvin Bagley's debut. What kind of role is he going to have? Today's Locked On Mavs. Welcome. You're still locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Mavs for over 10 years. Joining me, as always, the post-game prodigy from the great Slightly Biased YouTube channel. What'd you see from the Dallas Mavericks tonight, Slightly Biased?
One step closer to the end.
The end of the season, the end of time, the end of...
all the above.
It's the one more thing bonus episode of Locked On Mavs. You missed the episode yesterday. I broke down the Matt Riccardi and Michael Finley press conference. I thought there was some really interesting things that they said there, so go listen to that. We'll have a show tomorrow for you. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel. Last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, last kickoff, the final chance to get in on the action before NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60. FanDuel is making sure that you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. So whether you're backing the favorite, like the Seattle Seahawks, still think they're the favorite heading into this. And yeah, 4.5 still on them. Or you want to pick an anytime touchdown score. That's kind of fun because you're just like waiting. All right, I got minus 185 on Kenneth Walker III to get a touchdown at any point in the game. Jackson Smith and Jigba. I pronounced it right. Drewski. Minus 110 to score a touchdown at any point. You can do that one. All kinds of different things like that. There's all kinds of props and things. First touchdown score. That's an even different one. You can go check those out on FanDuel. If you're a new customer, you can bet just $5. And if you win, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make it count because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, we're going to talk about the Mavs game against the Spurs. We'll talk about all kinds of other things, the Marvin Bagley debut, Tyus Jones debut. But the first thing I want to start with slightly is the Mavs just got crushed in this game. This is one of those games where in the second quarter, Spurs started going on a run. They were at home. They were getting the energy from the crowd. Stephon Castle was on a heater. And the Mavs just didn't have enough to even match them at all. And so you get this Mavs defense that was just getting destroyed. Mavs offense just couldn't keep up with them. And the weird thing about this offense is they had Klay Thompson going off for a little bit there. You had Brandon Williams getting his there. Marvin Bagley had a little bit of a run we'll talk about. But Cooper Flagg, it felt like stretches of this game, the Mavs just didn't look Cooper Flagg's way. And then, so that's the first concerning thing. My second concerning thing was in the first quarter, he kind of fell on that shoulder again. He was holding the shoulder on the bench. And then he came back into the game. But then late in the third quarter, he kind of landed weird, fell weird and hyperextended his knee a little bit. And he ended up coming back in, but then he stayed out for the rest of the game. Didn't really play in the fourth quarter. And the injury stuff is starting to pile up a little bit here. And I'm concerned about that. Are you concerned about either of these things, Slightly Biased?
No, I'm not concerned about this game really at all. The only concerning thing outside of not a great shooting game and floating around because you'll have these games every now and then where a couple guys make shots and it's it's my turn tonight, I'm gonna be the one to shoot a bunch. I can't imagine. We talked about this a couple games ago, I think, where it's it's probably difficult for some of these guys to be we're losing games and I might be having a contract coming up soon, but the 19-year-old can shoot 25 times and I'll just kind of sit and watch. But I felt as though the energy just from the entire team, but also Coop was just dreadfully bad. We do tanking and stuff like that. They're in a lot of these games, right? They're on pace to have the most clutch games in the history of the league. So these games aren't that frequent. But when they do happen, where it's just they got rocked from the moment the game started. And rotations were late and slow or non-existent. A couple plays where guys, I'm just remembering one play in specifically, I think in the first half, Max Christie did a great job tagging a roller and then ran out to the corner after, stopping the short roll, and then Gafford and no one else picked up the guy into the basket. It was an easy end one. I forgot who it was specifically, but I was like, what are we doing? It just didn't feel like the team wanted to play today. That can't happen. That cannot, you want to lose games and stuff like that, but falling into this, we're just going to get rocked. Who cares, really? We've lost 4 or 5 in a row now, whatever. It can't really happen. Injury stuff, he's 19.
That's right. He'll bounce back. I'm a little concerned seeing multiple different things pop up because then all right, does he need a day off? Does he need a break to just to recoup? Pun intended. And then the offense thing, I started just looking at, the defense was the big problem tonight, so we can get into that. But the offense, you're 14 shots for Klay, 12 for Brandon Williams, 10 for PJ Washington, 14 for Marvin Bagley, 11 for Christie, 10 for Martin, 12 for Flagg. It's like everybody, it's like, all right, we're just going to spread it around tonight. And they didn't really have like one focal point. Naji Marshall only took 8 shots, only had 6 points. The Mavs didn't get what they've gotten from him lately. They didn't have like the one guy to like the head of the snake or the head of the spear type guy tonight. And it had been Flagg for the last 4 games. And maybe you just ran out of gas having, such an incredible outing the last 4 games, but it felt like they were listless in that sense where they tried to spread it around too much. And it was too much of what you said, like, oh, this is my turn. This is my turn to go out there and get some buckets. And they only had 7 turnovers too. They only had, they had 35 assists, but the Mavs didn't turn the ball over. Like they didn't run into some of their normal problems. Shot 40% from 3. They just didn't have the one guy to go out there and all right, let's finish it and let's take it over the edge and keep them connected when the Spurs were going on that crazy run. And it was either going to be Flagg or Naji because they've been the guy for the most part. And those guys just didn't show up in that way. And I thought the Mavs just spread it out too much. I thought in this one, but that's going to happen in games like this when you're completely like talent wise overmatched.
Yeah, I mean the Spurs scored 81 points. Like the Mavs scored 67 in the first half. Like that's not a terrible number. The pace was insane in the game.
We would have loved 67 points at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
The first 2 months of the season, we would have been like, wow, look at this team.
I mean, just to speak on how crazy the pace was, 67 points. Their offensive rating in the first half was 115, which isn't really that good.
Nah, right.
So,
yeah, they were just flying up and down the court.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's just this team doesn't have the firepower to absorb something like that. So just the moment that happens, it just becomes a free-for-all, really. And that's literally exactly what you saw. First quarter where Coop takes 2 shots total. I'm just not as important at this point in the season. Like, I just don't think that can be a thing that happens at any point, really. I know it sucks because you don't want to hear that. And guys are like, well, I want to get I want to shoot tonight. Like, all of this. Like, it's just, yeah, it is what it is just for the future outlook of the team. And as a fan right now, I don't want to watch a game where the Mavs lose by 100 points and Coop gets 2 shots in a quarter. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, that's just how I feel currently.
It has to be really weird for some of these guys, especially like a Klay or a Caleb Martin. You're like, we've played in the NBA finals and now we're catering to this 19-year-old that was in elementary school when we were in those NBA finals.
But also I'm saying this as a selfish fan where it's like, I want to see Coop get all these 30-point games. But also at the same time, it is learning to be like, all right, maybe you're not going to get a lot of shots this quarter. How are you going to impact the game? Yeah. Outside of that, like how are you going to go about it? And I thought he failed the test today, but it's a learning experience.
Yeah, and it's one of 82 in this, and he's passed way more than he's failed in some of these games like this.
Absolutely.
On Klay though, 19 points, kind of a heater from Klay there. He was hitting shots off all kinds of ways, man. There are times when Klay still can be impactful on a team. Like bringing him off the bench next year, I'm okay with that. Yeah,
and I mean it's just the 16 points in the first half, 3 in the second half. And of those 16 points, 14 in the second quarter. So he just gets on these bursts where it's 6 minutes of just like, oh my Lord, Klay hasn't missed a shot for like 4 minutes. Yeah, I mean I'm a little bit surprised that I don't know. We won't know, but I'm surprised that there wasn't like a market for him. But we'll see. Going into next year as an expiring, like I'm sure there's a bunch of teams that'll call the Mavs, and yeah, maybe it makes sense for the Mavs just to keep him.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one next year. The Mavs defense was really the reason why I think they struggled in this game. The transition defense, the Mavs have actually been okay at transition defense this year, and it's been keeping them connected with teams, but the Spurs, man, they just, they just like boat raced them. Their half-court offense was really good, 109.7. That's 82nd percentile. That's really good. Their transition, they were in transition 20% of the time in this game, like which is really high. And it wasn't even Wemby. Wemby had 16 points. Fox, what did Fox even finish with? Fox had 15. Devin Vassell had 17. He had a lot in the first half, but I mean, really just what Stephon Castle did in this game. It reminds me that the Mavs have so much work to do when it comes to roster building, where you're like, hey, look at this team where Castle any night could go off and do something like this. Fox could do the same thing. Like Dylan Harper is probably a year away from doing something like this every night, or being able to do that every night. Devin Vassell too, and you're just like, man, they have so many different options. Like this Spurs team, they're deep in a way that is going to be lasting because of how young they are, and that's where the Mavs need to get to, right? That's why you do the flexibility trade with Anthony Davis to try and get opportunities to get guys like this.
Yeah, and I mean, year 3 Wemby. So Vassell was there before Wemby, obviously, but Fox knew since Wemby got there. Castle obviously knew since Wemby got there in the draft. And I think really along the margins, kind of funny that we're even talking about this in a game like this, but the Spurs could have done a better job. Like there's actual good role guys out there in the league that the Spurs just kind of gave up on completely. Young players that would have really fit this Victor Wembanyama timeline that they sort of just gave up on and in favor of some of these older guys. And yeah, I mean, call it what it is. The Spurs get a ton of love for their front office and stuff like that, but their team is completely built through lottery luck. I mean, that's just the truth. They're not here at all.
Spurs front office frauds?
I mean, they're literally here because of lottery luck. That's it entirely.
Wemby for sure.
Wemby, and then you make the right pick with Castle, and Castle's been probably a lot better than anyone would have predicted, because if people knew he'd be this good, he'd have been the number one pick in that draft. And Harper, second overall pick.
I was looking back at their draft. When was the Jeremy Sohan draft? A couple years ago. They had 4 picks. And because it had Malachi Branham in it, and I was looking up Malachi Branham, and I was like, man, remember that draft? The Spurs had 4 picks. None of them panned out. Like literally none of them. Sohan was the 9th pick. Yeah, all the other guys were kind of late in the draft, but Sohan was the 9th pick, and that's a bust as a pick.
Yeah, and again, I'm not hating, because they're a good team. They're a very good team. And Castle was unbelievable tonight. I mean, that was insane. Like the players on the team are really good, but I'm saying from a front office perspective, it's like, yeah, you got back 3 straight top 5 picks.
And it shows how much luck plays into this for sure, but also how many times you have to take bites and how many times you have to try and how many chances you need to get in order to assemble a team like this that's ready to compete now. We'll talk about how good they are compared to the rest of the West later. And then coming up, let's talk about Marvin Bagley, his debut. I thought he looked pretty good. We also got to see Tyus Jones and then a couple minutes of AJ Johnson. So we'll get into the Mavs new guys coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by DoorDash. The season is heating up. Playoffs are right around the corner, guys. Big game is happening as well. And the way to keep fans in their bag the whole way through is with DoorDash. Whether you're watching highlights, the tunnel fits, or your favorite player, DoorDash makes the entire season more fun. Do you know that there's like 8-hour pregame shows for the big game coming up this weekend? That is insane. You may need DoorDash if you want to watch that whole thing, because every player has their bag with DoorDash. Fans have one too. DoorDash keeps your snacks stocked, your gear fresh, and your watch party vibes absolutely on point. There are nights where your team stresses you out like this one with the Mavs. Let DoorDash become your post-game therapy. Sometimes you just need a dessert right now or some wings. I kept seeing that stupid Amazon Prime Blake Griffin like Wingstop commercial over and over again. It did make me want some lemon pepper wings. You're doing something there with that. From tip-off to overtime, stay in your bag and order on DoorDash. Get snacks, drinks, gear, whatever gets you through the season, delivered right to your door. DoorDash in your bag all season long. Also brought to you by Quo. New year, new systems. The Mavs may need a new defensive strategy. They may need some new communication systems on defense, and maybe they can get it with Quo. There has to be a better way, something you're probably saying watching the Mavs defense, and you may be saying that about your business as well. Quo, Q-U-O, the smarter way to run your business communications, because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating all in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. So if you're a small business owner, you need that. Your whole team can call, text from one shared number, so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, so you're making replies faster and more personal. You know that somebody's getting reached by a person. Or if you want to have them get reached by an AI tool that can log calls, summarize conversations, highlight next steps, the details never slip through the cracks. You can use that tool as well. Make this the year where no opportunity, no customer slip away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our listeners, listening every day. Appreciate you for checking out the show and listening. We have the text line. Subscribe to that. We'll send you every single rumor we hear. If the Mavs are going to do anything with their two-way guys or rosters or anything like that, we'll let you know. We also send updates on game day, so subscribe to that. Link in the description or the QR code on that one as well. I'm slightly vibing right now. All right, we're talking about the Mavs game against the Spurs, and we got the debut of Marvin Bagley. First of all, I'd like to say this. I tweeted in the middle of the game, Marvin Bagley had a really good first quarter. And our old friend Matt George, who used to host Locked On Kings, covers the Sacramento Kings, he wrote the "We Don't Need Luka" song after the Kings picked Bagley over Luka, and that song, and he said, "Oh, how the tables have turned." We had Marvin Bagley. I have to admit, it was very weird watching Marvin Bagley in a Mavs uniform.
Yeah, it is a little bit strange for sure. It's all strange.
This whole thing. If you would have told me, all right, in 2018, when we were celebrating getting Luka and celebrating his rise, Bagley will be on the Mavericks. Trae Young will be on the Wizards. I think I would have believed that one. Luka on the Lakers. I would have been really hurt by that one, but I think I would have believed it too. And you're like,
yeah, that's true.
Ayton is also on the Lakers. I would have been like, what?
Yeah,
Like, but hold on. He's not good anymore. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Marvin Bagley, though, 16 points, 12 boards, 8 offensive rebounds, 4 blocks in this game, 2 assists. Also hit a 3. He's only like 6 of 19 or something this season on threes. Marvin Bagley, I thought, showed what he could be for the Mavericks. He could be a springy rim roller, rebounder, better rebounder than Gafford to me, better rebounder than Dwight Powell is. He can step out. He can definitely do the DHOs, the dribble handoffs that the Mavs want to do. He can definitely pick and roll with guys. He's going to struggle defensively, but you can actually get some solid minutes out of him. And I think that him as a backup big for Gafford the rest of the season is like a pretty good role if the Mavs are going to keep him around.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bagley's carved out a nice career for himself. He was he's been a good serviceable backup big for quite some time. And I'm a little bit surprised that there isn't really ever a market for him of like contending teams trying to shore up their center rotation.
He's a sneaky, hasn't played a lot of games in his career guy, right? Like last year he played 31, year before that 50, 42, 48, 40 or 43. You're getting to shorten COVID years at that point, but like he's just a sneaky, has really struggled with a bunch of different injuries.
Yeah, that's totally fair. But yeah, I'm interested to see his the close of the season here, because I think there is a pathway where the Mavs look to bring him back next year at a pretty manageable deal if that's on the table, and just kind of flesh out this center rotation with another guy who's very serviceable and very capable of giving you solid minutes, off the bench.
I thought his rebounding stuff was pretty good. Like the Mavs have kind of missed that from a guy. Like Lively was a guy that could get some boards for you and get some putbacks and just finally turn a possession into another possession if you miss that shot. 8 offensive rebounds. A lot of them were just like he jumps up, gets the quick tip in, or even like got his own offensive rebound off of a missed layup. He missed 8 shots in this game, and so a lot of them were from that. And so I'm not saying he's like the Andre Drummond level rebounder, like Steven Adams level offensive rebounder, but I think he'll give you that. That 2-handed block on Harrison Barnes in the first quarter too was like insane.
Yeah, he's got he's the double jump. That was Marvin Bagley's right. That was his calling card. So yeah, I mean, I think Mavs fans will be actually kind of pleasantly surprised by him, because I think he's just kind of been a backup big on bad teams. Has he ever played in a playoff game ever in his career? Like, I'm just trying to think the teams that he's been on.
That's a great question.
But yeah, he's one of these guys, and I feel like the lasting impression Mavs fans have is
you'll never guess that he's played 2 playoff games. You'll never guess the team he was on.
I'm trying to think of the teams that he's been on.
Sacramento, Detroit, obviously the Wizards.
What other team was he on?
The Memphis Grizzlies. Last season, he played 2 playoff games.
And then he went back to the Wizards?
Never seen slightly more befuddled. Yeah, he was with the Grizzlies. He was with the Grizzlies for 12 games at the end of last season.
I have no recollection of that whatsoever.
I do not remember that at all.
No recollection of that.
He played 16 minutes in one game and 11 in the other. He actually played a role for them. He scored 17 points and 5 boards in that first game against OKC.
Okay. I mean, I'd have no clue why that doesn't even click in my brain.
I love when slightly just doesn't, you just are like, I have no recollection.
I'm trying to get to the point where I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. But I literally
nothing. Just
well, hold on. No. Okay. All right.
No, that's nothing.
No, nothing. Nothing going on up there.
I'm trying to find my my Marvin Bagley draft profile, because I remember Bagley was the one in that draft that I was very sure on. Was like, all right, I'm lower on this guy than everybody else in this whole draft thing. I can't find it, but I knew I just tried to figure out, all right, what is his role? Like, as a star player, what would he have to be in the NBA? And I couldn't figure out what his archetype, because it's that double jump, it's his ability to kind of handle the ball, kind of do a lot off of pick and roll. Like, that was the stuff he did in college. And like these Duke bigs, it feels like they've gone from like Marvin Bagley to Zion Williamson to Cooper Flagg to Cam Boozer. Like, they keep getting this same kind of archetype of player and just like leveling up in insane ways each time. Like these types of players keep getting better and better as like skill development gets better and better, younger and younger. And Marvin Bagley was like kind of one of the first of these bigs that were like this.
Yeah, I sort of feel like if that draft were today, I highly doubt Bagley goes second overall.
Yeah, right.
Ayton almost certainly doesn't go first overall.
That was the thing to me. Is like I don't think he's good enough to go that high. Like
the Kings loved him, man.
Well, a lot of people did. He was number one in a lot of people's big boards for a long time during the season, and then Ayton made that run, and then oof.
Yeah, but I mean, he's like I was saying, I think most Mavs fans will remember Bagley from the 2018 draft. He went before Luka and the Kings, the baffling Kings. But he has carved out a pretty solid career for himself, and I think Mavs fans will be a little bit surprised by how impactful he can be off the bench.
Well, I think if you watched him tonight, you liked what you saw in that first quarter, especially, but mostly throughout this game. Tyus Jones got his debut as well. He played 16 minutes, 4 points, 7 assists, no turnovers. That is Tyus Jones. He's going to give you. To me, he's a taller, more confident, older Ryan Nembhard. So basically, like the things that we've seen from him, you're not going to get a ton of scoring out of him, but you can get some. But you're going to get an insane assist to turnover ratio, which you saw tonight. And he's going to be able to be like the coach on the floor, which is what Matt Riccardi said about him in that press conference the other day. I think the Mavs are in this weird position where they're not starting a point guard. They're calling Naji Marshall a point guard. He's not really. Sometimes he does things like that. Sometimes Flagg does too still. Sometimes Caleb Martin does. But Brandon Williams like the backup point guard, quote unquote. But I think Tyus Jones is like the real backup point guard because the Mavs, like let's say Kyrie comes back and plays. Kyrie plays, then I think Tyus Jones is the first one off the bench as a point guard. I think that's how Kid would go.
Yeah, I mean, tonight he was a plus 18 in a ginormous blowout loss.
That's wild, actually.
For the Mavs. And most of that, some of it was in garbage time for sure. But, I mean, their offense was non-existent without him, really. So we'll see if that is a trend that continues. Definitely, like, a pretty solid debut, I would say.
Yeah, it was only plus 7 in the fourth quarter. So that means he was plus 11 in the second quarter stint that he...
Yeah, I mean, not a half bad debut.
No. Yeah, that one's an interesting one. Both him and Bagley were the two guys I looked at and were like, all right, I could see the Mavs bringing those guys back because they fit clear roles that the Mavs could need next year coming off the bench.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you believe some of the reporting, like Tim Cato was in on it, that this team just loves Tyus Jones and has loved him for a long time and has wanted him for a long time, and now they've got him. That, to me, makes it feel as though they're going to do, they went out and got him. It wasn't like he was a part of a deal that, we have Tyus Jones now, similar like how Bagley. Like, they went out and got him. So it wouldn't be surprised at all to see him come back next year. Now, what the deal is it's going to tell me a lot about what the direction this team is moving forward, depending on how they treat some of these guys. Like, if you give Tyus Jones a cheap extension, and I mean cheap extension, then okay, like, all right, I can work with that. If we're 10 plus million, if they are just like, we love Tyus Jones, we got to get him in here like 11, $12 million a year, that's where I'm gonna be like, I don't like this at all. Same with Bagley. If they look, I'm just gonna be real watching some of these games, and I know people don't want to hear it. We just had the trade deadlines. People don't want to hear trade stuff. If I were in charge, I'd be looking at PJ Gafford. I mean, I think it's just time to just kind of go a new direction.
You're ready to move on from PJ? Because I'm still not. I got into a couple arguments on Twitter today about PJ because I think he'll make a bounce back. I think we've seen a bunch of random injuries. He's had some off the court stuff. I think he can be all right.
I think the numbers don't lie this year. Cooper is a 4. And when he has shared the floor with AD, it was awful. When he shares the floor with PJ, it's awful. So I don't know what that is moving forward, because then if it's all right, Coop's the 4, which means PJ is going to come off the bench. Cool, that sounds really good in theory, but that's a lot of money for a guy coming off the bench. And if a guy, if a team out there is like willing to pay for him to be the final piece of their puzzle, then I think you should look into that.
Depends on what you can get. I'd definitely be open to it.
Right, I'm not saying just dump him. I'm just saying like I'd be canvassing the market.
Tyus Jones to get like $10 million a year would be more than Ty Jerome money last year. Ty Jerome got 8.7, 9, 9.6 player option.
Tyus Jones isn't getting that, but I'm just saying like that would be because he's at $7 million this year.
Yeah,
$7 million this year, and this is like this hasn't been a great year for his value either.
No,
so
the Mavs got him for nothing.
Yeah, so I mean the Magic had to attach picks to dump him.
The Magic had to dump him. The Mavs were like, we'll take him. We'll take him off the hands.
We'll see there.
I didn't see enough from AJ Johnson. He played 7 minutes, basically all the garbage time minutes. Missed all of his shots, had an assist. But I think his role is development. He's a Bruno Caboclo. He's 2 years away from being 2 years away in a way, like both in weight development and in like court field development, talking to the people that cover him on the Bucks and on the Wizards. You're like, yeah, he's the one he's a development project. If you can get him going in the right direction, that athleticism is insane. But I definitely knew he was going to be the one on the outside looking in with Kidd as far as minutes go. And so if the Mavs find a bunch of time for him, maybe they're working on developing him, but I wouldn't hold my breath on it.
No, I mean, yeah, this is I saw some people excited to see him. I figured he'd be an end of bench guy, and that was kind of what he was tonight, and what I imagine he'd be moving forward until we get to the March month when it's just like throw whoever out there, man. Like there's gonna be guys who aren't on the team that get picked up off waiver wire or G League stuff that will be playing minutes. Like it's just how it goes. But yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for him because he's on the Mavs. I'm not holding my breath. I've already seen Shea stuff, like the history of guys with this efficiency and stuff like that through 2 years is just not very good.
It's not. I'll throw out again. I think I did this on the day of the trade. He played for the Bucks, who have not had a good track record of drafting or developing any of those guys. And then he played on the Wizards, and they had too many guys to develop. And so I wonder if he gets some special attention from the Mavericks, maybe, and some of their guys that they figure out something with him. But that's my only shot in the dark there.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm rooting for it.
The last thing I'll say is none of the two-way guys were active in this game. It's really interesting with the amount of games that they have left because I think Nembhard only has 6 games left on a two-way contract. You had Moussa Cisse was 8 games left, and then Miles Kelly has like 32 games left, so he could play the rest of the season. I don't know why he wasn't active tonight, to be honest. I think they played in the G League last night, and so maybe that was part of the reason. But that's an interesting thing to watch the rest of the season is what are the Mavs going to do with these guys? Because now they have these new guys that they're filling in, and we talked about Tyus Jones and Marvin Bagley. He played the same positions and almost play similarly as Moussa and Ryan Nembhard. And so I'm interested to see if they move anything to try and get those guys under contract. But I noted that that all 3 of them were not active tonight.
Yeah, I made note of that too. So yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with Nimby and Tyus Jones. Because did they make the Tyus Jones move? Because again, they went out and got him. They didn't save any money in the deal or anything. They like literally
cost
went
them
out
money.
They went out and got him. So is this going to be like a, hey, we've seen Nimby and like we'd rather just go out and get the proven commodity guy in Tyus Jones?
Yeah.
Or is this going to be like, oh, we'll have like 48 minutes of like a Nimby and Tyus Jones type out there if that's the route we want to go. I'm interested to see what that direction is going to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so we noted it. Hashtag noted. We noted
Hashtag noted.
Go check out Slightly Biased stuff on his YouTube channel as well as Haymaker. We've also got the text line, so subscribe to the text line. You get a couple weeks free if you want to try it out, and you get to text me and Isaac. We'll do Q&As. We'll do all kinds of stuff. We'll send messages on rumors and all kinds of things that we see on there. So subscribe to that. Click the link in the description or in the QR code. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked on Mavs. Peace out. Boom.
Bagley got that dunk.